All right, guys, how's it going? It is time for another Today's Exclusive. Now, I didn't want to do another Today's Exclusive, to be honest with you, because if you do more than one, it's not really Today's Exclusive, it's Today's Exclusives, it's plural. However, I was asked to do this by, excuse me, got a terrible chest, Callum Smith. He dropped me a comment in the comment section of one of my videos today. He's a channel member as well, squad. And he said, can we have a Today's Exclusive about Sam Maguire linking us to Alvarez? And then he put a laughing emoji. And I said, okay, that was 45 minutes ago. And I've sprung into action. Now I've located the article. Now what I want to do is I want to show you an article from coptalk.com today, my website. This is a Liverpool fan site. And here you can see this is an article. There is zero advertising across the top. And we're just going to scroll through it. I yet to see any pop-ups or anything. This is only a button that you click to go to the top of the article. It's not an advert that I've collapsed. And as you can see, I wrote this news article earlier today when I was in the cafe. And you get to the bottom and there's two adverts. Very, very small adverts. At the bottom of the page where you wouldn't be anywhere. But you can see there's nothing, getting in the way of the viewer experience. The article's not generating any revenue. I'd be surprised if those two articles even generated a fraction of a penny, right? They won't do anything like that. So that's an article that, this is how I deal with things, right? So I would rather have that kind of system, like, I'm not going to put all these adverts all over and create clickbait news articles and everything every day. If you want to support me, you can become a member of my YouTube channel, a member of the website, and I'll work like that, right? So in comparison, we're going to go to the website that's hosting the exclusive today, right? And this is called Anfield Watch. And here you go. Look, you can. I have to tilt the phone because of the reflection. But you've got the videos at the top, which is an advert, if you like, which you can close down. Scroll down a little bit. Oh, there's an advert there. All right, there's the article. So we get into it. Oh, there's more. These are adverts, guys. Trust me, you get paid to include these, right? Oh, see, clicked on it. This is my entire point of what I make. So through navigating the website, you're clicking on their articles and generating them revenue. And as you can see, their adverts, there's another one that's popped up at the bottom and another one and another one. Have we even got any of the news article? There's a bit there. We've got more adverts. Oh, there's two sentences within some adverts. There's a video promoting their own YouTube channel by the looks of it. We've got some text that we can read. More adverts, a full fucking thing of an advert. And this is my point about the amount of advertising you see on these websites. So these websites that are predominantly operating like this, it's purely for revenue purposes, right? You know that, yeah? And that's fine, all right? That's fine, that's allowed, okay? It's not my business, it's not your business, bills have to be paid, all right? And, but the thing is, these websites are always the ones that have got the exclusives and the speculative news because they're what generate more views and more clicks, etc., etc. So then you're talking about credibility, right? So the minute you arrive at this website, it's highly likely, I think most people would think, that this is bullshit before we even read a word of it, all right? And the article, let's get to the article. We discussed the topic today, Alvarez, on a live stream this afternoon, actually, on here. Nobody mentioned Sam Maguire, who's the author of the article, when that was first put to me, but later on they did. And I haven't seen the article, and I've not read it yet anyway, but I know what it's about because it was discussed on the stream. So, if you had to write an exclusive or an article about Liverpool Football Club, maybe you're getting paid for it, maybe you're employed by someone, maybe they say we need you to write one article a week, maybe you're trying to stay relevant, right? What would you write about now? What would be your exclusive? And if you were pretending to know what you're talking about, right? So what could you do? You could do exclusive Luis Diaz agent in secret talks with Barcelona, because we know that that's a high possibility that would happen if Barcelona's finances are sorted within the next couple of months, right? You could include any Saudi clubs, link them with anyone at Liverpool Football Club that their future might be uncertain, because no one can deny it. If you make an exclusive, who can deny it? Do you know what I mean? So we have to review it in see if it sounds believable. But Sam Maguire, for example, that also wrote an exclusive back in the last transfer window, said that the Saudis had come in, for Darwin Núñez, as did everybody else at the time. During that transfer window, there was multiple reports from multiple people making exclusives, coming up with the obvious, right? But it's all about the specifics of those exclusives, right? And I remember that one, and I remember reading it at the time about Darwin Núñez, and I just thought, what a load of shite. Do you know what I mean? And it's not being personal about the author, because I think this author is probably a little bit known within like social media and stuff like that. And then maybe they start doing a bit for a website and they think they're important or something. I don't fucking know. Aren't you sick of it already? I'm bored. I haven't fucking read it yet. So it's very easy to claim an exclusive and then deny an exclusive. But what I'm looking for in an exclusive is tell me something that's not fucking obvious. Tell me something that isn't like could happen, might happen, we understand. Like, tell us something fucking factual that can't be disputed. Don't leave a get out. Always look for the get out. That's what I will do when I read this, is I will look for the get out and see if I can flag it up to you. Now, I can't read the entire article out to you because I'm not allowed to do that, but we can analyse it together. You can go and compare it, that you've only got to Google that and you'll find it, right? And you can see if I've been unfair in any way, right? So I leave out the obvious things. If it's telling you who a player is, a Liverpool player, you know they are, right? So let's see what it says. And I start immediately by going, the more adverts, the more bullshit, right? That's just my mantra. And it's right. Because if you go to The Athletic, which is an exceptionally credible outlet, in my opinion, you are not plastered with adverts because it's a subscription model. So they make the money that way. They do not need to clickbait you, right? So same with coptalk.com, right? Minimal advertising because I've got a members website where people are happy to support me. So I don't need to act like this or, and come up with all these wild claims or sell you ball shaving products to try and make a few quid, right? Let's get into it. I know it's a long intro, but you've got to fucking explain it. Exclusive. Liverpool have advantage in Julian Alvarez pursuit. Now, I already don't believe that. I don't believe Liverpool have any advantage over Alvarez. I read a 2-page interview by Alvarez in Spanish yesterday, and not one question in there was about his future aspirations, maybe wanting to play in the Premier League, no come and get me's, no hints. He mentioned Liverpool, but he mentioned a famous defeat of Liverpool, right? So he wasn't name-checking Liverpool so that there would be headlines about him. He was talking about famous fixtures from the past when Liverpool got turned over. Well, we won't talk about that. But I read the entire interview for you, right? Because for when things like this happen, right? So when people are talking about Alvarez, which they've been doing for a few weeks, then I'm going to read stuff that maybe these people and your average fan, because they haven't got time, can't access, right? Or maybe they're in a different country. So I read the entire interview, didn't make a video about it, but for knowledge, so that if I discuss Alvarez at some point, I feel like I have a little bit of knowledge with it, right? So this is by Sam Maguire. And it says, the opening sentence, the third word in is could, right? Darwin Núñez could be pivotal for Liverpool this summer, right? And basically it's telling you about that he's set to depart Anfield at the end of the campaign, his playing time's being limited, etc., etc. Pop-up blocked my phone, says, let's scroll down. Darwin was subject of interest from Saudi clubs in January as exclusively revealed by Anfield Watch. All right, so they're just reminding you how amazing they are. All right. Liverpool would have sold had their valuation been met, which is highly funny because if you remember rightly at the time, and I can't quote exactly because I've got shit memory, if you remember the feed that was being thrown around that we were supposed to believe in January, that Liverpool had rejected, was it 70, 80 million, 75 million for Darwin Núñez? You want me to believe that? Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, I remembered it well. I remember it well. I know it was a ridiculous valuation. Like, as if Liverpool would have gone, nah, you're all right. We'll take our chances later. You're having a fucking laugh. Right, let's have a look. Oh, here we go. The Reds rejected a verbal proposal of £70 million. They want us to believe that Liverpool rejected £70 million for that for Darwin Núñez in January. Do you believe that? Is anyone going to be brave enough in the comment section to say, yeah, I believe it? Not there was, interest. Not, oh, he didn't fancy it. But Liverpool rejected £70 million for Darwin Núñez in January. And you're going to tell me the reason they did that was because there was no other options had he left. Nobody as effective as Darwin Núñez. They could have took on loan. They could have bought someone from the fucking conference or something, you know what I mean? For like 500,000. He'd done a better fucking job. He'd have got us to the summer, right? There's no way in a million years did Liverpool reject £70 million for Darwin Núñez. Anfield Watch now, I can't read it because of the adverts, now understands that the former Benfica man could be sold for as little as £35 million this summer. That's because he's fucking shite. That's because no one's going to give you £70 million for him. What a load of nonsense. Atletico Madrid, however, are the only team with access to Darwin at this discounted rate. It's an interesting claim. Maybe it's true. As revealed in March, Diego Simeone is a huge fan of the 35 cap international. Nothing needed to be revealed in March saying that because everybody knows of Atletico Madrid's prior interest in Darwin Núñez, so nothing was revealed. And Liverpool are huge fans of Julian Alvarez. I don't know why we have to emphasise huge. I would have used, if I was writing this article, on a website that doesn't require survive on advertising revenue, I would have said Liverpool are admirers of Julian Alvarez because of the previous inquiries we made to his agent, which his agent has confirmed. I wouldn't try and sensationalise it by saying that they're huge fans of Julian Alvarez. Again, it's just waffling on about who he is. Now, this is interesting. They say Alvarez is happy in the Spanish capital. But if there's any club that could tempt him to leave after just 12 months, it is Liverpool. The club are confident, all right? Liverpool are confident of that. I'm sorry, but the ads are pushing the text around. But have contingency plans in place for it. If I doesn't pan out. That's their English, all right? Just pointing that out, okay? Mistakes can be made. I've made a few. But I've contingency plans in place for it if I doesn't pan out. That's your get out clause, all right? You know what I'm saying? That's the get out, in my opinion. So they also mention who other options could be, despite this being an exclusive about Liverpool trying to sign this player. It is believed that the 25-year-old feels he has unfinished business in the Premier League. I'm just wondering who believes that, because I haven't seen any reference of that. And he is exceptionally happy where he is. There's no doubt about that. I don't believe he's trying to get a move anywhere right now. That doesn't mean that he wouldn't go, but he's not a player that, I've been watching him. I haven't watched him for a long time, but I've watched him since Liverpool have been mooted with him. And the only reason Liverpool have been mooted with him is the obvious. And this is where exclusives come into play. When I said to you, could you write an obvious exclusive? What would be an obvious exclusive? Atletico Madrid are looking for a striker either this year or next year because of Griezmann's age. If you follow my daily Spanish coverage and stuff like that, I've got Golazo España, my other YouTube channel, the link's in the video description. And I touch on stuff, in Spain all the time on this channel as well, right? And previously, they were saying that there's concerns there, he's slowing down a bit, but he's going to give him another year, right, till next year, apparently, another season. So that could delay them looking for a replacement. But they are basically looking for a replacement, right? So let's think of a player that they've previously registered. Oh, Darwin Núñez has previously been mentioned with them. He'd be easy, wouldn't he, to suggest as a possible transfer target for them. And then let's look at Liverpool's situation. Liverpool want to sell Darwin Núñez. So that falls into play, doesn't it, as well? Darwin Núñez obviously knows his time's up at Liverpool, so he'd be up for a move, right? So all those little factors come together if you had to conjure up an exclusive. But it's not an original exclusive, is it? You're not coming out and saying Alexis McAllister will sign for Real Madrid within the next year. You know, you're not coming up with something, you know, talks are underway, this, that, and the other. No one's doing that. All they do is give you exclusives of the fucking obvious. And that's because I don't think they're real. And I think that they're just putting forward suggestions that the fans probably want to hear, because Liverpool fans are like, oh, I'd really like to sign Alvarez. Now, is it impossible to sign Alvarez? No, I don't think so. Nothing's impossible, all right? Well, sometimes me putting my socks on in the morning feels a bit impossible. But in terms of football transfers, anything can happen because money talks, right? And I would describe Alvarez as possibly an outside chance for the obvious reasons given. Hey, you used to like that player that we've got, and he's available, and we're trying to sell him. And you're looking for a player because Griezmann's coming to the end of his career. We could do some business together, right? So because of the obvious, you can see someone at Liverpool, you know, going, I wonder if we could, you know, tempt them silly fuckers into taking him. Do you know what I mean? All right? And he's a quality, as Rafa Benitez would say, quality player, right? But it's all very obvious, isn't it? So, do you believe I mean, what they've said there in an exclusive is what I've kind of said today before I've even read this on the live stream, in that, well, they like him. Alvarez's agent has previously said we've inquired about him and shown interest. We want to get rid of him. They need someone. So it's like common sense. So I can't really like destroy the exclusive and say, well, that's a load of bullshit. It could never happen, because it obviously could. Anyway. If Darwin turns down the riches of Saudi in favour of move to Atletico, so we're getting more ifs, and maybe he could go out there. Liverpool could leverage this to land them the number 9 they feel is perfect for the slot project. There's nothing in this article that's exclusive. There's nothing in this article that says anything, really. The only thing that there is in here, which is a little bit different, is that Liverpool would allow him to leave at a valuation of £35 million. But I would imagine if you said to me, honestly, well, let's rule the Saudis out, right? I mean, even the Saudis, if they'd have paid 70 million for him in January, there's some serious money laundering going on, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? They might have a lot of money, but they're not thick as fuck. Do you know what I'm saying? So, if someone said to me, what is his valuation, Dunk, I'd say it's probably about 35 million, to be honest. 40 million, 35 million. If we got that, I'd understand it, because he hasn't been a very good player, right? But the worst thing Liverpool can do right now is alert other clubs to the fact that they would be willing to let him go for a cheaper fee. So if that was true, why is it out there? Why on earth would Liverpool want it out there that they'd be willing to lower his valuation to 35? Because if I was going to try and sign Alvarez from Atletico Madrid, I would be going, well, he's worth at least 50. Because the lower the valuation, the more cash you're going to have to give them. So, the exclusive, in my opinion, is not an exclusive. I don't see anything in it, you know. And unfortunately, sometimes people read these things and then they maybe discuss it with other people on social media, but don't say where it came from. And before you know it, at the end of the day, people say, oh, I've heard that we're in for Alvarez. And it's not their fault, because they don't know the trail. And that's what I try and do on my YouTube channel. So as much as we talk about today's exclusives, and 9 times out of 10 we're just having a fucking giggle because they turn out to be shy, there's also a serious side to it where I'm saying, look, guys, if you're hearing about this particular rumour, I can tell you where it's come from. And would you trust that website? I wouldn't. And I hate saying it because, you know, like, everyone in life is entitled to make a living, right? We're all entitled to make a living. And I know there's people, I've spoken to people before about I've said, like, if I was to clickbait, my revenue would be 10 times through the roof. And don't forget, Cop Talk's all I do. It's my only source of income, right? And if I behaved like that, my revenue would be through the roof. It would benefit me. And I've told people that. And people have said to me, I'd fucking do it. Fuck them. I don't care less. Just give me the money. Because some people just think like that. But when you've been here a long time and when you've built up relationships and friendships with people, and channel members, and I've got VIP members and all that, and I start behaving like that when they've put their trust in me. Nah, fuck that. Nah, that's never going to happen around here. And I know how it works. I know how it works. I know how all the advertising works. I've got all the experience. I've had the most successful football fans website in the fucking world. Guys, you have no idea, right? The amount of money that's gone through my hands over the years from big companies wanting Cop Talk to do this, trying to buy Cop Talk, trying to get you to do this, trying to do that, all right? But I stayed true to myself, right? I stayed true to myself. I look back sometimes and think, you fucking silly cunt. You should have took the money and run. But at least I can always turn around to you and say, no, I'm not going to no, I'm not. I'm not. And I ain't ever going to fucking behave like this. So, anyway, rant over. Got a WhatsApp message now. So, I know this isn't a very good video. It won't be a good video for people that are just here for the first time. I'm not interested in those people. I had a lot of things I wanted to talk to you today, to be honest with you. But I just found myself really, really behind with my work today. I was going to mention Alvarez to you yesterday, actually, for that. Sorry, I'm getting more messages. I was going to mention Alvarez to you yesterday for that double, double page spread. So anyway, I'm sorry, I know it's not a very good video, but at the end of the day, I was asked to review it, mention it. What do I think about the Alvarez thing? Let's look at it in two ways, right? I personally believe that it is common sense to think club once wanted player, other club once wanted their player, they need a player, we need to get rid of a player. It makes obvious fucking sense that someone, would go, maybe we could do business with them. But if that makes obvious sense to you and I, then the people that need to create exclusives can pass on the same thing because it sounds believable. But the only thing is, when you read these so-called exclusives, there's always a get out. There's always a get out, which basically says, if it doesn't happen, it's because of this, this, and this. If you've got real confidence in it, you'd say, this is what we've been told, you know what I mean? And this is what we expect to happen. A grown-up, an adult knows that in football, anything can change. You don't need to be pointed out, the get out. The get out is there when someone is consciously thinking, someone might pull me up for this later because I know it's a load of shite. I'm not saying that's happening here, but that's what I look for in articles. Yeah? All right, I'll leave it with you. Think before you speak in the comments if you're new to my channel, because I'm very fucking trigger happy. And once you get blocked on this channel, only you can see your comments. Nobody can see your comments ever again. And I have a bug on my channel that I can't unhide anybody, all right? So think before you fucking speak. I make my videos for my friends and my members, all right? And for as long as they're happy with these videos and you read the comments, all right, that's all that matters to me. Okay, guys, I gotta go. I'll speak to you in a bit. If you enjoyed this video, please thumbs up the video. If you've got a comment about this and exclusives or anything else, that's fine. Leave a comment. And the bit that I do at the end of my videos where I say, if you want to buy me a coffee or a beer, you can hit the super thanks button under the video. And some people don't like that, right? But they don't realize that that's how I work here, rather than selling you ball shaving products, creating numerous videos and making things up and clickbaiting you and publishing, running a website with adverts. Like the members' website don't have a single advert on it and never has in decades, all right? So the way I do things is, hey, if you want to get me a beer or a coffee, cool. If you don't agree with that or don't want to, that's fine. But you can't criticize someone for doing it that way when they're saving you being subjected to all the other bullshit you get online. And that's the way I like to do things. Cheers.